On August 13th, 2026, a message landed on iPhone lock screens in 110 countries. It did not say your password leaked. It said someone had spent millions of dollars to target you, specifically. The sender was Apple. The story underneath is bigger than one phone. The exact wording, published by Apple the same day, Apple detected a mercenary spyware attack targeted at your iPhone. No demand for money. No countdown clock. Just a warning, an email from Apple's own account system, and one place to check it was real, a sign-in at account.apple.com. This is not a story about Apple's own servers failing. Apple is not the victim here. Apple is the one holding the flashlight, running threat intelligence investigations, then telling a small number of people someone else may be hunting them. Apple has quietly run this notification program since 2021. Almost nobody reading this will ever get one of these alerts. Apple reserves them for a very small number of people: journalists, human rights activists, elected officials, diplomats. People targeted not for what they clicked, but for who they are or what they do for a living. The vast majority of Apple's more than 1 billion users will never see this message at all. Here is the part that unsettles researchers most. Citizen Lab says these notifications usually arrive in batches, not in real time, sometimes describing an intrusion that happened months earlier. By the time you read the warning, the danger may already be old news. Or it may not be. Here is the first turn. If the attack Apple is warning you about already happened months ago, is the danger already over? Or is that exactly when it starts, while you still don't know your phone was never fully yours? Ordinary cybercrime wants volume. 1 million stolen passwords, cashed out fast. Mercenary spyware is the opposite. Apple describes attacks that cost millions of dollars, built for exceptional resources against exceptionally few targets, often with a short shelf life before they're burned. Think of it less like a burglar, more like a private investigator with a nation-state budget. Public reporting links this attack class to both government agencies and the private vendors who sell them the tools. Apple calls these high-confidence alerts. It will not name the spyware. It will not name a government. It will not explain what tipped it off. Apple says revealing the trigger would only teach attackers how to dodge it next time. Confidence without a culprit, that is the deal targets get. Even Apple admits investigations like this can never reach absolute certainty. So how does one of these attacks actually move? Researchers describe a pattern. A target gets selected. A zero-click exploit slips in through a messaging path. No tap, no download needed. An implant installs quietly. It watches. Only much later does Apple's threat intelligence catch the trail and send the notice. Apple's main countermeasure has a name: Lockdown Mode, launched back in July 2022. It strips out risky message attachments and complex web code on a device that opts in, built for the very few people facing grave, targeted spyware threats. Apple told reporters it has not seen a single case of a device hacked while lockdown mode was switched on. If you're a journalist or activist who gets this alert, the advice from Digital Rights Group Access now is counterintuitive. Don't wipe the phone. Back it up first. Wiping destroys the forensic evidence. Investigators need to understand what actually happened. Evidence no antivirus scan can recover. Access now stresses it has no extra insight into why Apple sent any particular alert. It simply helps targets figure out what to do next. Second turn. Apple keeps saying a notification does not prove a hack. But in at least one case researchers checked personally, they didn't just find a warning. They found the spyware itself, still sitting on the device. In July 2026, Citizen Lab examined the phone of former European lawmaker Stelios Kouloglou, a journalist who had sat on the European Parliament's own Spyware Inquiry Committee. Researchers found high-confidence Pegasus infections in October 2022 and again in March 2023, timed to committee hearings. He was hacked while investigating who gets hacked. Apple sent Kouloglou 3 separate notifications over the following year. He does not recall seeing any of them. The same silence nearly buried a bigger story. Polish judge Eva Rzosek learned she was under surveillance only after an Apple message reached her phone. Poland's prosecutor general later told Parliament that Pegasus had been used against 578 people between 2017 and 2022. Citizen Labs' John Scott Railton later told TechCrunch that without Apple's notifications, the Polish spyware scandal wouldn't have been uncovered. A quiet lock screen message, sent by a phone company, ended up doing part of a government's own accountability work for it. Third turn. Apple sued the spyware maker NSO Group back in 2021, seeking to ban it from Apple's devices for good. By 2024, Apple walked the lawsuit away. Why would the company defending you against spyware suddenly drop the case? The 2021 lawsuit followed an exploit called Force Entry, a zero-click hole in iMessage that let Pegasus in without a single tap. Apple patched it in iOS 14.8 and sued NSO Group days later, seeking a permanent ban on using any Apple software, service, or device. US officials had just placed NSO on a trade blacklist that same month. By September 2024, Apple asked to drop its own lawsuit. Court filings said continuing risked forcing Apple to reveal the very threat intelligence methods that catch spyware in the first place. Apple also noted the spyware industry had already spread far past one company. Beating NSO Group in court would not have closed the market. There's a final wrinkle. Because the Real alert exists, fake versions now do too. Apple has had to warn users about counterfeit threat notification emails, scams built to look like the one warning that's actually meant to protect you. Step back and look at the pattern. This is not a one-time alert. Apple has sent these warnings multiple times a year since 2021. In April 2024 alone, reaching 92 countries. This August batch hit 110. Cumulatively, Apple has now notified targets in more than 150 countries. Open questions remain, on purpose. Apple won't say how many people got this month's warning. It won't say which government or vendor paid for it. And it's unclear how many recipients were merely targeted versus actually compromised. Those answers stay behind closed doors for now. Researchers are still asking which new spyware vendors quietly filled the gap NSO Group left behind. If you ever get one of these alerts, treat it as a checklist, not a panic button. Verify it only by signing in directly at account.apple.com, never through a link in the email. Turn on lockdown mode if your risk is real. Keep iOS updated. And if you're a journalist or activist, Access Now's helpline exists for exactly this. Here's the bigger lesson. Your phone doesn't just hold texts and photos anymore. It holds medical records, legal strategy, sources' names, a parliament's confidential drafts. One compromised device can mean total surveillance of a life. Mercenary spyware isn't a hoodie in a basement. It's a global, funded industry, and Apple's warnings are the closest thing most of its targets will ever get to due process. Apple's own threat notification pages and reporting from TechCrunch, Citizen Lab, and the Associated Press filled in this file. Full links sit in the description below. Which corporate failure should we open the file on next? This has been Corporate Breach. Case still open.